This is a rocket stove that I made. Originally I'd just seen them made out of steel, and I decided I want to keep this out in the weather, so I made it out of ferro cement. Added a skirt so the wind, which we're having right now, wouldn't sweep as much heat away, and I'd have nice distribution of heat. So I'm just going to lift this pot up. We're boiling some tea here, just to show you the Venturi effect of the flame kind of spinning around in a circle. And the flame actually directly hits the bottom of the pot and really makes this efficiency. About 2 billion people a year rely on wood to provide their cooking, and it generally is looked at in a negative way because of respiratory tract diseases, asthma, chronic obstructive lung diseases, and as well as deforestation. But the advantage of this rocket stove is that the sticks are just twigs or sticks and branches. You can't destroy the forest if you're just taking branches. So that's a real advantage on that behalf. Do you want to pull out any logs, or do you want me to? I think it'd be worthwhile. We'll just kind of take a look inside the chamber in there. There's just some coals down there, and the tips of the sticks generally burn as long as the sticks don't fall down on top of the coals, like this one is. Get that readjusted. And the efficiency of using wood, propane has about 20,000 BTUs per pound of fuel, and I'm sorry, that would be more like gasoline, but it's a little closer. Propane's not as efficient as gasoline or regular kerosene. So basically the amount of BTUs in a pound of wood is about half of what's in propane and about a third of what's in gasoline, and that is really incredible amount of energy locked up in wood, because if you think about all the fossil fuels it takes to concentrate to make biofuels. So it's very impressive using wood, and usually when you first move things it'll get a little bit smoky, and then the smoke ends. When you see smoke, it tells you that things are very inefficient and you have to readjust things, which I'm going to do right now, and make adjustments so I don't see any smoke. I do like this to be efficient. How efficient is a rocket stove? Well, a 3-stone open fire is only about 10% efficient, and a good rocket stove is 40% efficient. So I can use a quarter less wood just based on using rocket stove. But what we do is we couple that with using a hay box, so we just bring the water to a boil, and then we transfer into the hay box. And for example, soybeans, we just have to cook for 25 minutes, bring it to a rumble boil, and instead of cooking it all the way for 3 hours, put it in the hay box overnight and it's done cooking. So that saves about 1/20th of the amount of fuel that we'd normally be using. So the savings are really substantial. And all of this wood is harvested on the land here, and we use mostly ironwood, and I never kill a tree. We just sustainably harvest branches and the tree regrows. We call it coppicing or pollarding, and when we pollard a tree, we take it above the level that a cow or a goat could take the food, so they don't eat all the resprouts, and the tree regrows, so it creates a nice regenerative living. And that's what makes this work so well. I use a lot less fuel. I don't have to transport fuel from Canada and have it transported all the way to Hawaii, and then have to take a car to pick it up, and have to put it into a propane tank that ends up rotting after so many years of being in humidity, and it just works out real well. Okay, this is our hay box, and I've got an old refrigerator I haven't repaired yet. And what we do is we pile our pots in here. We've got a piece of cardboard on here, and just as long as you have 2 inches of insulation around anything, it could be a box within a box with, newspaper, yellow pages, old, telephone books, old books, whatever. We put these are pots full of different things, like that's millet, and we just boil the water down just so it goes slightly down below the grain level. put it in the hay box, cover it up overnight, take it out in the morning, let it cool off, and put it in the refrigerators that are running off of solar power when the sun's up in the sky to get our food cold, and that way we can reduce the amount of cooking time and the amount of work we do in life, because our food's already cooked for 2 weeks at a time. Saves us time to do other things like play guitar and sing and do all the other fun things we do around here. So anyways, that's sort of the story about rocket stoves. They're just a great tool to live off power with, and it's just been one of the greatest things, actually, the hay box, because anybody can do it with, even if they're using methane or propane at home. They can bring it up to a boil and put it in a hay box. It could be a TV box inside of a TV box with a smaller box inside, and pack all around it with these yellow pages that are old, and just stack it all around those two boxes, between the inner and outer box, and put their food in and keep it in overnight and pull it out and let it cool off in the refrigerator. It saves a tremendous amount of fuel.